Hey, what's up guys, Tony here, and I'm bringing you some more Battlefield 3 gameplay. And in this video, what I want to talk about are these unwritten rules of conduct in Battlefield and pretty much how I view them. And I want to talk about Battlefield 4 a little bit. So, getting right at the start of this, you're going to notice that this is close quarters. Like I said in a few commentaries, this is my favorite DLC of Battlefield 3. It's so fast paced, and I really enjoy it, you know. And for those of you guys who've been around the channel long enough, you'll know. For those of you who are coming across this video or new to the channel, you might not know, but I have been an off and on Battlefield player since, you know, the beginning. You know, I played Battlefield 1942, played Battlefield Vietnam, I played a lot of Battlefield 2, but when it came to my primary shooter, it's always been Call of Duty. So I started out as a Call of Duty player first, and with Bad Company 2 in the bad games that were Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2, I have transitioned to become a Battlefield player. And so now I really consider myself a Battlefield player, more of a Battlefield player and less a Call of Duty player. And to be honest, I don't really even consider Call of Duty a franchise that I even want to closely associate with. However, there are aspects of the Call of Duty community that I actually like. And there are aspects about the Battlefield 3 community, or just the Battlefield community in general, that I find to be somewhat retarded in their mentality. And that all it all boils down to this idea of this unwritten code of conduct for Battlefield players. So I want to talk about that right now because of the fact that, one, I'm using an M16 on a close quarters match. And people are going to be like, well, Tony, you're a level rank 56 colonel. Why are you using M16? That's an overpowered weapon. You know, that's a noob weapon. You shouldn't be using that gun. You should be using something else. And usually the philosophy goes is that only good players use the shittiest guns and do really well with the shittiest guns. Whereas only the noob players, the ones that are bad players, only use the, quote, OP guns. And so there's been a laundry list of those throughout Battlefield 3's life. And I scratched my head thinking about this concept that you're not allowed to use certain guns because they're just too damn good, or just using other things that are just too damn good, because it somehow is against the code of conduct, this unwritten code of conduct that we have to abide by in Battlefield, and I don't quite understand it. Another thing is in some of my Jeff videos, people will make comments, write comments about you know, using heat seekers. You know, how heat seekers, especially when it comes to air superiority, that is a game mode that everyone is just like, heat seekers are for noobs. Don't use heat seekers, or else you're a noob. You're a bad pilot if you use heat seekers. Billy the Kid did a commentary, basically a Jet Tips video, and he put it up on Pixel Enemy, and you just read through the comment section and people are blasting him because he was using heat seekers and giving out good sound advice on how to fly, but because he was using heat seekers, people were dismissing him as a bad or noob pilot. Like, how can you give advice on how to play, you know, how to play well as a jet pilot, or how to become a good jet pilot if you're using heat seekers? Like, automatically discredits you as a person that has good sound advice. And so the reason why I bring that up, and the reason why I bring up my Call of Duty background, is because the last game that I got this heavily into, and by this heavily into I mean Battlefield 3, and I'm going to compare Battlefield 3 to Black Ops, because I played Modern Warfare 2. I was a very casual Modern Warfare 2 player, but my urge to get better at console gaming, because that was the game in which I transitioned from PC gaming to console gaming. The game after that, Black Ops, I really got into Black Ops, and I went out and I found a clan. Well, I guess really I started a clan, to be honest. I found Huppet, which was, you know, Woody's gamertag's brainchild, and this other guy, to help unite players into teams. And so I found a clan that was recruiting to create a PlayStation 3 clan, and so I became the, you know, leader of this PlayStation 3 clan, and I met a lot of people through that clan, and we played a lot of Black Ops. I mean, we had the callouts, we played the maps, you know, religiously. I put in more time into Black Ops than I had any other game throughout all my entire history into that. I put so much time into that game, it was ridiculous. I think it ended up being something like 11 days, and that's, like, for me, that's a lot of time, you know. Now for Battlefield 3, I put way more time in it than Black Ops, but that's just a transition, sort of the evolution of my gaming. But again, I bring up Call of Duty for a very specific reason, because I want to talk about the community. The community of Call of Duty is such that there are weapons that are overpowered. That's just so that goes without saying. I mean, you look at Black Ops 2 now. There are weapons, submachine guns are just they dominate everything in that game, and probably shotguns now. But I don't know how the game stacks up now after it's been patched and nerfs and things go on. But going back on the game that I played the most, Black Ops, you had the FAMAS for an assault rifle, and you had the AK-74U, especially with rapid fire. And those ones were the two hands down best guns that you could go with. I mean, people can make arguments for other guns, but those were really it. The MLG players were using the FAMAS. That's exclusively what they used. And the game battles people were using the same thing. So why do I bring that up? Because in Battlefield, the community is they like to back on people who are going to use the M16, the M416, the TAR, the FAMAS for a while. The FAMAS was on that list for a while. There's a lot of guns that are considered the noob guns, the OP guns. You shouldn't use those guns. The thing that I admire about the Call of Duty franchise and the Call of Duty players is that, yeah, if there is one gun that is overpowered, the fact of the matter is it's in the game. So just use it, and that's the mentality. So what if you saw an entire game full of FAMASes? You know that you were on equal footing, and you use that gun, and there was sort of this go with it, this sort of laissez-faire. That's not really the right term, but I mean it's just this go with the flow of the game and of what the developers have put on the table for all of us to use, and that's really what it was. I mean, if you think about maybe Modern Warfare 2 is probably a better example where people really griped and were, with the grenade launchers, the noob tubes, and danger close, because that was really bad, and people exploited that, and of course they wanted to nerf. But when it comes to actually weapons, people just use whatever they thought was the best, whatever would get them a kill. And a quote from CNanners that I actually admire and I respect, and I take that into my other gaming, is the fact that his goal for him to have fun, he needs to make sure that you're not having fun. So his goal when he's playing online is to make sure you're having a bad day. So whatever he's got to do to make you have a bad game so he can have a good game, that's what he's going to do. And that's competition. And that is really what we're doing. We're competing against each other. So I can't quite get my head wrapped around this notion that, because a weapon is good in all categories, it's fantastic in all categories. Let's take the M16. It's a great all-around weapon. People shit on it, and the people who use that weapon because they're using it, despite the fact that they can use it themselves. The logic escapes me. So on that level, I don't quite understand the Battlefield community, and the same goes with heat seekers now. In air superiority mode, I can understand it. I've got the sort of the World War I gentleman sort of agreement when it comes to 2-on-2 jets. If you got two jets firing at one jet with missiles, it's really easy. But when you've got a whole 24 man or woman or person's server full of jets and heat seekers going off, there's just no real way you can police that sort of activity, and it doesn't really fit. And to be honest, I actually enjoy it, even though it does suck because you got warnings going off all the time. But it creates a new way to play the game. It's not just like, let's go up, and all the cannon guys like myself, I can shoot people down with cannons very easily. Those people would just rape face if you couldn't get shot down with heat seekers. So basically to wrap it up, I just don't quite understand this idea that you just have to self-regulate the community, and that if you use something, you're a bad player or you're a new player. The fact of the matter is, it's available to everyone else. If you feel you must, handcuff yourself to prove something to yourself, because that's all you're really doing is prove something to yourself. Unless you want to be that guy who sends messages, be like, haha, I killed you with, pistols only, or whatever, like not TAC 1911s, and you had yourself a shotgun or whatever. I don't know. There's a bunch of weapons out there that just, like the AS-VAL. I'm not a fan of AS-VAL. Some people might like it. I don't really like it. It just doesn't work for me. And so if I use an AS-VAL and I'm shitting all over people, I'm like, you got shit on my AS-VAL, suckiest gun in the game. I think that's what they're trying to get out of it. This is how good I am, and maybe that's what it is. There's this lack of self-confidence or whatever in it, in the community or whatever. But it just boggles my mind, and I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think about this whole idea that there's this we need these unwritten rules of conduct in Battlefield. I really think it's retarded, and if it's in the game, just use the damn thing. If you get tired of getting killed by the M16, just use the M16. It's not really that hard. Just do it. Just go for it. because it's there for everyone to use. And if you get shit on by the M16, just pull it out and shit on people with it. That's really what it boils down to. That's kind of the heart and soul of my feelings behind it, is there's no reason to have these unwritten rules of conduct in Battlefield. So I want to quickly transition to Battlefield 4. I want to talk about really quickly, because we all saw that 17 minutes of gameplay. I think the game looks fantastic. I can't wait to see, and I can't wait to get my hands on the beta. I am finding myself in a position where it seems like all my friends are abandoning the PlayStation 3 and either going to go with a PlayStation 4 or buy it on PC. So I'm like, I just pre-ordered it on the PS3, of course, today. The thing, though, is that I have a feeling that this is sort of the common feeling, I think, around the community, is that Battlefield 4 on the PS3 is not going to be as good, obviously, as the PC and as the PS4. But I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I really want to like abandon the PS3. But it seems like, because I'm sort of a social gamer, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play the Battlefield 3 on PS3 if no one's playing it. Like, what the hell am I gonna do? I'm gonna be sitting there with twiddling my thumbs by myself, going, "Oh, this is such a great game," playing it solo. So it's crazy. It's all speculation right now, but basically what it boils down to, like I was saying, I think the game looks fantastic. The single player campaign, a lot of it reminds me of Crysis. As far as the texturing and the light, and it's just the way that game's going right now. Gaming is developing. But it looks fantastic, and I know a lot of people were kind of crapping on it, like, well, it's only 17 minutes of single player gameplay, it's not multiplayer, we want to see multiplayer. And I'm kind of tired of that whole, like, let's only look at the multiplayer aspect of the game. Like, let's just look at the game in its entirety. It's a beautiful game. That's really what it amounts to, and this is the reason why I posted Battlefield, is because it got me excited to play Battlefield again, and I jumped on and I played several hours of Battlefield that I hadn't played in a long ass time, so it got me really excited to play. My only concern, though, is what platform am I going to get it on. I did pre-order for Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4 for PS3 today, but I'm afraid that a lot of the people that I normally game with are actually going to be moving on to the next generation consoles and or PC. And so what I want to know from you guys, are you going to be getting it for Battlefield 4 on the PS3? I'm getting that so confused. Battlefield 3 on the PS3 rolls off the tongue so easily. Battlefield 4 on the PS3 just doesn't. Battlefield 4 on the PS4 does. Anyways, let me know, are you going to get Battlefield 4 on current consoles, or are you going to be looking to pick up the next gen consoles, or get it for a PC? Because it seems like PC is sort of this growing trend in gaming right now, as the next gen consoles are rolling out. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll talk to you guys later.